First up, it's almost always the first talking point that comes up in any conversation about Bengaluru, the state of roads in the city and its civic upkeep in general. Just last week, Biocon founder Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw posted on social media platform X about a friend of hers wondering out loud why Bengaluru's infrastructure was so abysmal on the roads and garbage front, especially at a time when India has entered its growth phase. Just a few months earlier, Ease My Trip's co-founder Prashant Pitti pledged 1 crore rupees towards funding an AI-powered solution to solve the city's traffic woes by identifying choke points. Barely a week ago, Map My India's Mapples app delivered a solution which gave users a heads up on signal countdowns 500 meters before hitting a traffic-prone junction in Bengaluru. This even as EV startup Ather has rolled out a pothole alert feature on its products after collecting data from cities like Bengaluru and Pune. The government in Karnataka has brazened out this criticism thus far. Multiple ministers at the government first claimed that some inconveniences need to be borne with in the interest of development, with Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar even going on to say that industrialists who were born in and grew their businesses in Bengaluru shouldn't be publicly criticizing the city. Shivkumar also said that Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw would get good roads if she sought them out. Now, the acrimony, if any, has been put to rest, even if only for the moment. The Biocon founder met with Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah on Thursday and is set to have a conversation about the city's infrastructure with both the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. In fact, both gentlemen have assured or reassured Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw rather that all was well between the Karnataka government and Bengaluru's industrialists. But the questions remain. What is plaguing Bengaluru's infrastructure? And what's the way out, really? To speak to us about all this and more, I'm now joined by Srikanth Vishwanathan, CEO at Janagraha, a Bengaluru-based think tank known for its work in urban governance, and B.S. Nesara, Bengaluru-based developer and chairman at Concorde. Gentlemen, firstly, thanks so much for joining us on the broadcast. Srikanth, if I could start with you, what's plaguing civic infrastructure in this city? Bengaluru has seen a record pace at office market completions, big-ticket transactions as well. Why have the roads not kept pace, Srikanth?
At a larger level, it's an issue of governance that is plaguing all aspects of infrastructure and civic service delivery in Bangalore. So traffic is a symptom, bad roads are a symptom, garbage is a symptom. And these all can be traced back to weak governance. And this weak governance is exemplified by one key aspect, which is that you've traditionally had very weak local governments. The state government has been trying to directly govern Bangalore like it has tried to do with many other cities in India, that respective state governments try to control the city directly. And it's globally proven that cities cannot deliver high economic growth, cities cannot deliver environment sustainability, cities cannot deliver great quality of life, including roads and traffic and garbage and so on, unless you have strong local government, so that citizens of the city are able to fire the elected mayor or the elected council if they don't deliver strongly. But more specifically on roads, the tragedy in Bangalore currently is that Bangalore was the first city in India to adopt best-in-class, world-class roads, which are called tender-sure roads, which we had partnered with the state government on, where SURE stands for Specifications on Urban Roads Execution. Where you have uniform travel lanes, you have continuous even footpaths with all the utilities ducted under the footpath. So for 10 years, you don't have to cut the road. And there are joint tenders floated by the water authority, the power agency, and the municipality. So there is no road cutting, there is coordination that happens. But Bangalore has not shown deliberate intent to scale that particular model. Now, we should not wallow in pessimism. So one ray of hope is the new governance model in Bangalore, which has been introduced through the Greater Bangalore Governance Act, which has created an integrating, coordinating, planning authority called the Greater Bangalore Authority and 5 smaller municipal corporations. So one can hope that with this kind of decentralized governance and an integrating, coordinating authority, they will pay greater attention to planning and governance. And in the case of roads, that they will scale walkability and better quality roads through a model like Tendershore. So it's a crisis of governance in the city.
Absolutely. Now, there may be a crisis of governance. In fact, Nesara, if I can get you in on this, and the fact is that the intent to scale up, like Srikanth was saying, may have been missing in the recent past. But now that Bangalore has pretty much wallowed itself in this bit of an urban mess, Nesara, I sometimes wonder, what's the way out? True to the city's startup spirit, AI has been put forth as one of the solutions, AI-enabled pothole detectors, traffic choke point detectors, and whatnot. But are we making this harder than we should be making it, Nesara? Is there a simpler solution at hand?
So we have to also see why this problem has arisen. If you see, there has been rapid growth in population. In 2001, the population was 44 lakhs. In 2011, it became 84 lakhs. In 2021, it's almost touched 1.3 crore to 1.4 crore. And by 2031, we'll hit probably 1.6 crore. So the population growth has been very rapid, and we have to be little bit fair because your infrastructure planning and growth also takes quite a bit of time. It takes like 10 years or 15 years, but definitely there was there could have been better planning and better execution of the projects, but because of successive governments and the diluted focus, we've not been there. But what I feel is, rather than obviously they're doing a lot of things using AI, because all of our signals now, almost 70-80% of the signals are vehicular actuated control signals, which are, AI controlled. Depending on the density of the traffic, the signals are given red or green. And they're using a lot of, apps and, other technology where they can record where the potholes are, where citizens can complain, and they're trying to attend using technology, but it's still not enough. What we feel is, these are quick fixes, but what we need is mostly the mass transit solutions. For example, the metros have to be given the utmost priority, because right now, with the population of 1.3 or 1.4 crore of Bangalore, our metro lines are just 75 kilometers to 90 kilometers. To give you a comparison, Tokyo is a similar size of the city. The land area wise, Tokyo is the same size as Bangalore, but their population is 3.6 crore, and our population is 1.4 crore. And their metro line is 4,500 kilometers, including the suburban rail, but we are at 90 kilometers. And their metro ridership is 4 crores per day. And Bangalore's metro ridership is 6 lakhs to 9 lakhs per day, depending on the season and things like that. So we need to push rapidly on the metro execution. All parts of Bangalore has to be connected to metro. And the other main thing is the footpaths. They have to work on the footpaths, like how they have done the Tendershore roads and footpaths in the central business district. They have to do all across Bangalore, because people don't mind walking, say 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer, to reach their houses or offices. If they have good footpaths, it hardly takes 12 minutes to walk a kilometer. So they have to focus, their utmost focus has to be on metro connectivity and footpaths. Then comes your roads, the concrete roads are a very good solution. And then comes the flyovers and other things. But their highest focus has to be on metro and footpaths, in my opinion.
Right. And no, and I completely get that. A good civic infrastructure and public infrastructure in terms of encouraging pedestrianism has often always catapulted good cities into becoming great cities insofar as public infra is concerned. In fact, I wanted to speak about public transport just a little while later in the discussion. Before that, if I could come back to you, Srikanth, you just heard what Nesara was saying in terms of what needs to be prioritized, and you probably, if you ask citizens of Bangalore, you'll probably get the same suggestions too. So do you feel is there enough government citizenship engagement happening on the ground, Srikanth? For example, it's one thing to meet, a Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, the CM and the deputy CM, but do you feel that the government in Karnataka should perhaps simply speak to its citizens a lot more to get the pulse of what exactly is happening on the ground and what needs to be done, Srikanth?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I think governance in our cities, particularly in fast-growing cities like Bangalore, have to be a lot more participatory and decentralized. So our local governments need to be given a lot more authority, and governments have to listen far more closely to people in their own self-interest. Because in a city with so many different priorities and challenges, when you speak to citizens, you're able to target your resources better. And there's lesser criticism of government as well. And there is a feedback loop that gets established. However, what governments generally choose to do is to take the easy way out of doing this either through Janta Darshans, which are in some ways one-off and one way in their communication pattern, or they choose to do it through one-off social media campaigns. What we need are neighborhood level platforms like ward committees where citizens are able to engage on a continuous basis. Month on month, they are able to engage with their ward level engineers belonging to different civic agencies and get their first mile civic issues fixed. So the answer is certainly a resounding yes. Not only that, we also need budgets to be devolved for neighborhood level civic infrastructure. So I completely endorse Mr. Nesara's point about public transport and metro, but that has to be accompanied, like he mentioned, with first mile walkability and last mile walkability, which means how do you make it easy for the citizens to access public transport from their homes? And that happens in the first mile where they live or in the last mile where they work. So listening to citizens is absolutely important, but what we need are systematic formal platforms with budgets accompanying them. So citizens can actually vote on their budgets at the neighborhood and decide where money should be spent.
Right, right. Nesara, if I could come back to you for a bit, and I promise you I'm not asking you this question because you're the only developer on this panel, but in all honesty, is there a case for a regulator like SERAP to take a good hard look at the pace of real estate development in Bengaluru and ensure that approvals come in only when basic civic infra, like acceptable roads, having roads is one thing, but acceptable roads, that this infra already exists before giving a real estate project the approval? Do you feel a lot more regulation is required on this front, Nesara?
Right now, also, actually, they look at the existing road width. Obviously, a lot of outskirts of Bangalore are not connected to water, but they are giving a conditional approval saying that whenever we connect water, we will supply water. But otherwise, the approvals are only given when there are existing roads are available. But only thing is, they might not be enough for the kind of development where what is coming in Bangalore, because and also they cannot. And the other disadvantage of reducing the approvals will be that your supply will come down, and then the prices of your apartments, houses, everything will go up because of the demand. So it's a two-pronged approach. One is they have to give approvals in certain areas, and they also have to try and drive more business to other metro cities. For example, in the other tier 2, tier 3 cities, be it Hubli, be it Mangalore, be it Belgaum, they have to give some kind of incentives, like some other states are doing, and push or incentivize people to set up their companies there or their remote offices there, so that so much, because anybody who's graduating from Mysore or Tumkur or anywhere from Karnataka, they have to come to Bangalore for jobs, because that many jobs are not getting created in those tier 2 cities. So they have to incentivize. One is, they can probably give land on long lease, but that is not enough. They've already tried that, but people are not going there because they don't have talent. So, they have to create ecosystems there, so that, and also incentivize companies, for example, giving some kind of, like how the central government is doing that PLI scheme, give some kind of subsidies in electricity, or give some, cashbacks, like, how the central government is incentivizing depending on the production, what they're doing, so that people will try and move to other cities and, reduce the load on Bangalore. Otherwise, it's not going to help. Just reducing the approvals might not help. Only the prices will shoot up.
Right, right. Well, let's hope that some solution is come to pass sooner rather than later, and Bangalore goes back to being the utopia that we all remember it to be, in terms of it being the garden city, but hopefully a lot more habitable with a lot more public infrastructure. On that note, Srikanth and Nesara, a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so very much for joining the Bulletin and speaking to us about all that can happen in terms of a solution to Bengaluru's infra woes. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Well, moving on, in a tragic incident earlier today, 20 individuals lost their lives and 21 others were injured after a Bengaluru-bound bus carrying 41 passengers collided with a motorbike in Kurnool. The cause of the fire is believed to be from a petrol leak. After the collision, forensic teams are presently on site in Kurnool conducting further investigations. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu and his counterpart in Telangana, Revanth Reddy, have instructed their respective state officials to oversee speedy relief measures for the victims of the tragedy. Samit from Times Now sent us this report.
Well, in this unfortunate incident, 19 people have lost their lives and 27 people managed to escape from the accident. Actually, what happened is this bus started from the Hyderabad city yesterday night, and at around 3 a.m. today in the morning, between 2:45 and 3 a.m. today in the VRs, the bus crossed it Kurnool and reached around 25 kilometers away from the Kurnool. And there at that spot, the bus has struck a two-wheeler and dragged that two-wheeler for around 300 to 500 meters, and that led to the fire accident. Because of the sparks, the bus caught on fire, and around 3 o'clock we spoke to the fire department officials, and even Transport Minister Ram Prasad spoke to us exclusively, and also even on the other hand, even Kurnool SP has, while speaking to us, has stated that at around 3 o'clock fire department officials have received the information, and immediately after that, around initially rural police have reached the spot, and later immediately after that fire brigade has reached the spot. By 3:15, fire department officials and police officials were there at the spot, and they immediately launched the operation to douse the fire, and it took a couple of hours for them. But even before that, one driver fled away from the spot, and one driver and few passengers were awake, and they managed to break open the emergency exit, and using that emergency exit, 27 including 2 children and 2 drivers and a few passengers managed to escape. So total together now the final toll is out, and 19 people have lost their lives, and in 17 are majors and 17 are adults, and 2 are minors. So total together 19 dead bodies, 19 persons were burnt alive and charred to death, and even their identification is the process is going on still, and around 16 FSL teams are on the ground trying to identify the dead bodies, trying to conduct the post-mortem inquiry. And on the other hand, 27 people out of 27, one person is in critical condition, and others are getting treatment, and 6 others have already been discharged from the hospital after getting the first aid treatment. So even a high-level committee has been, formed by the Andhra Pradesh government, and high-level committee will be inquiring into this incident, what exactly happened, what is the cause. Initially, in the preliminary inquiry, the police and agencies have come to the conclusion that because after colliding with the two-wheeler and dragging it to the around 300 to 500 meters, the fire has broke out. So every angle will be investigated by the committee, and already police they are investigating on the ground. And on the other hand, Home Minister and Chief Minister, ministers, they spoke to the officials and also ordered relief measures to the victims, and also even helplines have been announced for the victim kin. And on the other hand, even the Prime Minister has responded on this incident, and even ex gratia has been announced by the central government, by the state government, Andhra Pradesh state government, and even Telangana Chief Minister spoke to the CS, Chief Secretary and DGP, and also ordered officials to provide all the necessary help to the victims kin, and also to reach them, and also at the same time the victims who received injuries to get better medical treatment for them in the Kurnool district or in the Hyderabad if necessary. So as of now, investigation is underway, and on the other hand, a few passengers still undergoing treatment at the hospital, and 19 people unfortunately lost their lives.
Well, a tragedy in Kurnool there unfolding even as we speak. Moving from Andhra to Tamil Nadu now, Chennai and its surrounding districts will receive another burst of very heavy rainfall between October 26th and 28th, the Met Department has predicted. A new low-pressure belt formation in the Bay of Bengal is likely to move inland between these dates and bring heavy to very, very heavy rainfall in the North Tamil Nadu region, including the towns of Vellore, Ranipet, Chennai, and its surrounding districts of Chengalpat, Kanchipuram, and Tiruvallur. It's been a rather wet October in Tamil Nadu thus far. According to IMD data, 25 districts in the state have received 82% surplus rainfall when compared to the monthly average, while precipitation has seen a 161% weekly rise. Moving on, with its big-ticket Google investment done and dusted, the state of Andhra Pradesh is now training its sights on the Middle East. In a meeting with UAE-based industrialists at a roadshow in Dubai, Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu called on business houses in the country to consider AP for investments. Naidu said the state would promise timely clearances should it get the right proposals. Speaking of investments, Andhra's neighbour is also hard at work. In Melbourne, Telangana's IT and Industries Minister D. Sridhar Babu said the state was targeting a total of 1 lakh crore rupees in investments for its life sciences sector by the year 2030. Speaking at the AUS Biotech International Conference, the minister said the state's objective was to generate 5 lakh jobs in the sector by this time, and that Telangana was in fact formulating a comprehensive life sciences policy to boost innovation, infra and partnerships in this space. Moving to Kerala now, Kozhikode-based deep tech startup Neox EcoCycle has clinched a 75 lakh rupee grant from Cochin Shipyard under its USHUS Maritime Innovation Scheme. The agreement was signed at IIM Kozhikode and will see funding go into building a first-of-its-kind marine hull coating, one that's eco-friendly, non-toxic and carbon negative. The proposed hull will be built using captured air pollutants, which improve fuel efficiency, cut carbon emissions and protect marine life. Backed by the Kerala Startup Mission, NIT Calicut and IIM Kozhikode, Neox says the partnership with Cochin Shipyard highlights Kerala's growing edge in clean and sustainable maritime innovation. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this episode of South Central. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back same time next week for more news you can use from South India. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.
in association with SBI. Best है सबको पता।